Hey, welcome to Romance Happy Hour. I'm here tonight with Luedecke, my co-hostess. I forgot to say my name. I'm Dylann Crush. Thrown tonight because we were trying to get Kathy's camera to work and we couldn't.
know.
So I'm thrown a little. But yeah, I'm Dylann Crush here tonight with Luedecke, and we have two romance authors with us this evening, Erica Alexander and Kathy Coopmans. And we're still working on Kathy's camera. We may get to see Kathy at some point this evening.
Yeah.
But otherwise, if we don't get to see her, you'll be able to hear her because we still have sound. We just don't have Kathy's image.
Yep, I'm here.
So we will get to meet our authors here in just a second. Real quick, Dawn, I want to check in with you. How was your camping trip? Because last time you totally blew out of here right after our show and went camping. Did you guys have a good time?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh man.
My family did. I did not. It was cold and it was rainy and I was freezing the whole time and it was just like it was miserable. And then 2 days later it was 80 degrees. So I'm like,
were you tent camping or were you in the camper?
We were in the camper, but it was cold and rainy and just miserable.
Yeah. But at least you weren't in like a wet, cold tent, I guess.
Yes. Still. That is the bright side. Absolutely.
Yes. And you had a bathroom.
I did.
Yeah.
Which is a requirement for me in the woods. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that you didn't have a good time, but we're glad that you survived and didn't get eaten by, one of those Montana bears or anything like that and came back. So
yeah, we were kind of by a lake, and so there was a lot of people around too. And my husband's like, never again. We're going out in the woods where there's nobody around.
Oh yes, because that's better to get eaten by a bear or a wolf.
Yes, because when you get eaten by a bear or a wolf, well, I mean, nobody will know. You'll just be dead. Who knows? But nobody will find you.
All right. Well, on that note, are you working on anything right now?
I actually am. I know this is surprising, right? But I'm kind of winding down a little bit with real estate. So I actually realized that I have a book due in a month, and it's a short story. So I'm okay. I just got to get the plot going.
Yes.
So I've been like getting myself organized again and staring at my screen and going, where is my meet cute? Where is the first words of this blank screen? And that's where I'm at right now. But I'm going to be writing a book, a short story this month.
Well, good.
Yeah. Back in the saddle.
That's right. That's exactly what I was just thinking. So you're reading minds tonight.
Yeah, right.
So, well, welcome, Erica and Kathy. Erica, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you write, and if you want to share where you are joining us from tonight or any of that good stuff.
I join you guys from New Jersey today. It's a warm day. It's been very hot the last few days, but I'm still cold inside the house. So always a jacket and a blanket on and socks. I write romance and romantic suspense. And I'm working on a book now that's going to be an ugly cry book. And it's taking me a while to because I'm crying too. So...
A lot of people love those ugly cry books.
Yes. Erica, where is your accent from?
It's from Brazil.
Brazil.
And I've been here for 33 years, but the accent doesn't go away.
So you grew up there, basically.
I grew up there. I went to college there and finished college, wanted to travel, hop on a plane. The plan was to land in Newark Airport. Mm-hmm. The plan was to go across the country, get to California, and fly to Australia. Now, that was my whole plan. But then I was in a car, my second day here as a passenger, being driven. And I see this boy walking his dog, and I looked at him and I said, oh my God, he's just perfect. I'm going to marry him. And he was the next door neighbor, and I did marry him a year later.
Wow.
It's like, 31, 32 years we're going to be together?
Oh my gosh, that's like a real life romance novel.
Yeah.
It is. It was love at first sight, Grumpy Sunshine, and Opposites Attract.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just
Awesome.
what's so funny is like last night I had like a work party thing, a birthday party, and I asked everybody, I said, I have to write this book and I'm like stuck. What's your meet cute? You know, and these are non-authors. They're like, what's meet cute? And then like, you know. So then they told me their stories, and then I'm like, okay, well, if you're, and we had this one, this was a one last week that we did. If your romance was a trope, what would your trope be? And you just told us that. So you literally just answered all of the questions that I asked my friends last night. So I
Sorry.
love this. No, it's perfect. I love it. I'm like soaking it in. So,
And the way we met
Good
was
idea.
with the Mr. Softy ice cream. You
oh,
know, the ice cream truck.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
he was buying ice cream. I saw him, but we didn't actually meet that. No, a couple of
Mhm.
months went by, and I'm like, I'm just watching, looking for my opening, you know. And we both going for ice cream at the same time. And he was wearing a Guns N' Roses t-shirt, and I love Guns N' Roses. So start talking about music.
mhm.
And I asked him out. I said, "You want to do something? Go somewhere?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You want to go to the movies?" He said, "Yes." All right, let's go. And he wasn't going nowhere. So that was
Awesome.
it. I asked him. We went out, and from that day on, together ever since.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited to have you on the show, and we are very excited to hear what you have to share tonight.
All
So
right.
we'll get to that in just a minute after we hear from Kathy. Hi, Kathy. We're sorry that you're just like a big white dot there, but
I
we're still thrilled to talk to you.
I'm so sorry, but yeah, I'm here. Thank you for
That's all
having
right. We often have technical difficulties, so it's we just go with the flow. You want to tell people a little bit about what you write, and if you want to share where you're joining us from or
me.
anything that you've got going on?
I write romance, obviously, romantic suspense and some dark. Um I live in Michigan and I am married to my husband Tony. We have two sons, grown sons, and we just had our second grandson on the 31st of May. So we have
Congratulations.
thank you. It's the best thing ever. I mean, I don't like my age that comes with it, but just being a grandma, just well, they call me Gigi, my oldest
Mhm.
one too. But oh, it's the best thing ever, ever, ever. But yep. So that's my life. I live in the sticks in Michigan, on the shoreline of Lake Michigan.
Nice.
Nice.
So are they close enough that you can see your grandkids all the time?
Oh yeah, I watch. Well, like I said, Bodie is the youngest one that was just born. So my son is a teacher, and him and his wife, obviously, they're off all this summer. So, but Oliver, I had him took care of him once a week. My oldest grandson. So, come September when school starts back up, and my daughter-in-law is off maternity leave. She's a nurse. Then I will have them both once a week.
Oh, fun.
I know
Yeah.
it's yeah. I always when I go to bed at night, like on Tuesday nights. I have them on Wednesdays. I go to bed on Tuesday nights, and I'm like, oh, wonder what me and Oliver are gonna do today. What are we gonna do today? So yeah. So it's gonna be fun having Bodie with us now, and both of them, and my little buddy and my little pal. It's gonna be great.
I just realized recently that I'm very close to being a grandmother myself. And so, because my kids are all of age, right? So we had this conversation the other day, me and my husband, like, what do we want to be called? Gigi or, grandma or Mimi? So I love that. It's you, Gigi.
Yeah, Gigi fits me perfectly because if you know me personally, I am a little bit sassy. So I
Mm.
think that's, that goes well with me. But like Mimi was taken and my mom I'm lucky to still have her. She's Nana. And my daughter-in-law's mom, they call her Mima. And I was like, well, what's left? So I'm looking and I'm like, this is just me personally, but I'm like, I don't want to be called grandma. Grandma's not going to work for me. So I said, I'm Gigi. It is. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
perfect. And I've got a cool hat that I wear all over the town, so I can just yeah. I'm in. I'm in the. I'm. This is. You think when you have your children, you're living your best life, which you are. But at the time, put it that way. But then when you have grandkids, you're living your best life again. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's
I am
perfect.
going to take your word for it. I am not eager to have grandkids yet. And
Well,
Dawn, your kids are way too young to even like. I don't know what you're
yeah,
talking.
Honestly, my son is
you don't even look
20.
it.
Yeah,
20?
but
Oh,
he's busy.
I
well,
know.
you could. I mean, you could, right? Technically, you could and stuff. But yeah, my kids are 29 and 35. So
Yeah, see, I told them. I told them all though. I'm sorry. I'm playing with this while I'm talking. Sorry. It flashed on there, so I thought you should know it's not just anyways. Um um yeah, my kids, I told them I'm not interested in being a grandma anytime soon, but it did dawn on me that it could happen. And I kind of started freaking out a little bit. So yeah. Yeah.
well,
And I
I'm
had like, yeah, Deanna said her mom had her at 20. I had my first at 20 too, as well. 20 as well. She
I
said not
wasn't so
22.
much when my son told me that they were going to have a baby. I was like, oh, geek, I was jumping up and down. My husband and I were excited and stuff. This is what's really the depressing part is I'm turning 60 in August, and I don't even like that.
Mhm.
I don't even like it. I mean, I just want to, I don't know, make some magic potion and go back or something.
You know
Well,
what, Kathy? You're only as old as you feel.
Oh, I
yeah.
So
feel it though.
And that's a good
Someday.
segue to our resident Canadians sassy little comment here. I'm going to post this up here. I know it's not a question, but she says, "You look lovely, Kathy."
Oh, geez, thank you. Oh, Linda, you're my best friend now. Jeez, that little white circle right there is fantastic. Let me
I
tell you.
know.
That's true, though. That's true. Yeah.
Cassie is the hide and go seek reigning champion right now.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Well, we are glad to have everybody here tonight. I see several familiar names over there in the comments. Thanks for joining us. We are going to go ahead and get to Erica's reading. She's going to read from, well, I'll let you set it up. I don't need to tell them what you're reading from and everything. But if you do have questions for Erica or Kathy related to the books or anything else, feel free to pop them in the comments. And Erica, you want to set up what you're reading for us tonight?
Yes, I'm reading from In Her Eyes. Can you guys see? And this
Yes.
is a romantic suspense. I named the main character in this book. Avalon was named after a cat that I lost while I was writing this book. And this book also has a lot of things that I personal experiences I've had, and some of parts of true stories that not to me but are happening, in the area where the story happens. And I'm going to start with the prologue, and then I'm going to read part of the first chapter. So the main character is Avalon, and the prologue starts when 15 years earlier. So I'm not a narrator, so I'm going to do my best over here.
You're going to do great. You're going to do absolutely great. All right. We're going to put you up there by yourself.
All right.
And we'll be back when you're done.
All right. The first time I died was at my birth. No oxygen entered my lungs as my mother expelled me into the world. My tiny body didn't shiver as it met cold air for the first time. No cries passed through my blue-tinted lips. But I had luck and medicine on my side. Doctors and nurses hovered over me and wrapped the umbilical cord from around my neck, pressed fingertips into my chest, and butterfly-like touches pumped life into my heart. My first gasp of air was followed by my first cry. There was laughter and celebration in the delivery room, but it was short lived, for one life was traded for another that day. My mother never had a chance to hold me. I was 5 the second time I died. A cardiac arrest resulted from some absurdly high fever. They worked on me again, cooled my body, pumped me full of drugs. Machines breathed air into my lungs. The fingertips pressed into my chest, less butterfly and more thumping bird. They blame it on a virus. The catch-all culprit doctors blame for all the ailments they cannot explain. The third and last time I died, I was 13. We were at the beach. I loved the sand between my toes, the tug of the water, the scent of sea and salt in the wind. the distant line where the dark green met blue sky on the horizon. The ocean called to me with a silent whisper. I didn't scream or try to escape when the first wave took me in, lifted my feet off the ground and robbed me of breath. I didn't know how to swim, but instinct had me kicking my legs, moving my arms, seeking the light just above the watery prison. I kicked, but the ocean didn't let me go. Not until he dragged me out of it, and not until again there were hands at my chest, pressing harder this time, and lips against mine, pushing air into my lungs, until his breath was my breath, and his gift of oxygen forced the water away. I sat up coughing, salt water burning in my throat, coating my mouth as it left my lungs and stomach. I opened my eyes to the beautiful face of a young man with two different color eyes, one green like the sea and one blue like the sky. The first time someone's lips touched mine was to give me the gift of life. I was just a child on the cusp of womanhood, but I knew I would never forget those eyes. Now, for the first chapter, to give a little setup, this is Avalon and Len, her best friend, and it's summer, and they're doing a road trip vacation across New England, and they visiting a antique shop right now. The antique store welcomed us with that smell all antique stores share, a bit dusty and moldy. It's the smell of old things, attics, and the back of closets. It's the scent of memories and history. I hesitate by the door, and Lynn tugs at my arm, but I hold my place and stand in the opening. Sunlight at my back, and the darkness and cluttered space ahead. I'm on the threshold between the past and the present. I still myself, ground my feet, and inhale deeply. The smells of the past mingle with the fresh breeze coming through the open door. The palms of my hands tingle. The familiar, anxious pressure in my chest makes itself known. I ready myself, step in, and let the door gently close behind me. The past calls to me like it always does whenever I enter an antique store, an old place, a church. The art historian in me rejoices in finding old objects, little treasures, long lost in time. In my soul, rejoicing learning the history and it reading the memory of each object. Lynn's bumps to my shoulder. I don't know you always put up a fight. You love this. I smile. She's right. I love this. I've lived my entire life surrounded by old things. I have the privilege of working with objects most people can only admire from behind a glass pane in a museum. An antique shop is nothing compared to my job, but I spend so much time trapped in the past. Sometimes I wonder if I forget to live in the present, but that's not something I want to voice out loud. Because I get paid to do this and I'm on vacation, I whisper. And if we were in a church, as if you were in a church, not a store, the place demands a certain reverence. Yeah. They pay you a ton of money to travel over the world. You get to see and touch treasures, art, and objects that very few people even know exist. This is all I have, she gestures around. Lane wiggles her fingers. Do your thing, she whispers. My thing. Psychometry. My gift. The ability to know the history of an object simply by touching it. A secret only shared with Lynn and my grandma. It has served me well in my job. My gift, as Grandma calls you, clamors for something else. It wants more, more than reading objects for their history or authenticity. There is an empty spot in my soul, and it's hungry, but I have yet to discover what it hungers for. Come, just wait, Linda waves at me and walks down an aisle. The pull gets stronger with each step I take into the store. The uneasy grows, and I want to leave, but I don't. I won't. I can't deny the pull. I follow Lynn, who is completely unaware of my struggle. Lynn points at a gun. The sign beside it says, Colt 1860 Army 44. The revolver is secured in a display, but not encased in glass. I touch it, close my eyes, and wait. Cold metal and smooth warm wood meets my hand. Nothing. A soldier never touched this gun. I open my eyes and shake my head at Lynn. It's a replica. Her eyes go round, and she gives it the $2,000 price tag. I lower my voice. That's worth around 300 at most. Whoa. I grin. I know. Lynn looks around for the next object. Okay, find something. Get your spidey senses on. I look around the store and smile when my gaze lands on a small picture frame. The black and white photo is yellowed with age. It's a wedding day picture. The woman is seated, gloved hands on her lap. She's wearing an elaborate gown. Multiple skirts are layered over one another, and delicate lace covers the fabric on the bodice and high neck. Flowers are braided into her hair, and a delicate veil is draped over one shoulder. The man is standing next to her in a dark suit and holding a hat in one hand. His other hand is on her shoulder, a flower in his lapel. They look happy, a love match and not an arranged marriage. The cast iron frame is gilded with gold. My hands tingle when I brush the fingertips against the top before I pick it up. My eyes close and my mind floats with images. My smile gets bigger. An English countryside flutters before my closed eyelids. Purple blue wildflowers spread amidst grass and rocks. A dirt road marred by the twin ruts of a carriage wheel extending down the path. The giggle of children. A massive stone house with tall windows and heavy draperies. A wall of leather-bound books. A floral settee. The very same picture frame with someone's writing something on the back. The picture frame sitting on a mahogany desk, the frame wrapped in newspapers, and the pitch black from the inside of a trunk. A trip across an ocean, an old map of Virginia, a new home, whitewashed walls, older kids now. The images move through my mind one after the other like the pages of a book being flipped until the last image dissolves with the words on a sign, State Sale. I open my eyes, blink a few times, look around, and allow the present to settle into me. It takes a couple seconds to get my bearings after the vision. The past never wants to let go. I take a deep breath and shed the wash of faint emotion that always lingered with the images. The visions attached to the picture frame were happy and bittersweet. That's not always the case, and I can't tell what I'll get until I touch something. The earlier pull I felt is dulled by lingering effects of this vision, but it's still there, waiting for me. Lynn bounced on her feet, all impatience and contained energy. So, what did you see? I grabbed the picture frame. I'm buying this. It'll look great with my other antique frames. I tell her everything I saw. Let's go. I tilted my head toward the cash register at the back of the store. The pull gets stronger, but something in me is resistant to the idea of touching it, whatever it is. I smiled big at the man behind the counter and placed the picture frame on top of the neat pile of butcher wrapping paper. He looks older than some of the pieces on the store. The pull I felt when we first entered the store takes hold of me again. It doesn't let go. My knees near buckle. Lynn's hands come to my back and steady me. I glance at the old man, but he's distracted wrapping the picture frame. I turn, orienting myself toward the call pulsing into my chest. To my right, in a glass case behind the counter, on a hook hangs a necklace. Two large blue stones dangling from a long silver chain. The stones sway ever so slightly as if they're trying to get closer to me. I point to the necklace. May I see that, please? The man looks behind him and back at me. His eyes glint. I cannot hide the eagerness in my voice. He's already calculated how much he can charge me. I try to tone down my interest. It's such a pretty blue. Ah, yes, I forgot this. I got this a few days ago. Pretty, eh? I think the stones are lapis lazuli and turquoise. He grabs the necklace from his purse and I want to swat his hand away. Keep him from disturbing the imprints that so strongly call to me. He dangles it inches from my face, and my hand trembles when I close around the stones. I'm instantly assaulted by images even before I can close my eyes. I turn my back to the man and lean to the counter. Len shifts at my side but doesn't touch me. She has seen me do this most of her life. Never touch me while I'm reading an object. I hold the necklace to my chest. In an instant, I'm falling backward, falling, arms extended, body stiff, bracing for impact. My hair flowing around my face. No, not my hair, hers, the owner of the necklace. She's beautiful, around my age, long brown hair with hot pink streaks, huge amber eyes, a beauty mark at the corner of one eye. Then she's being dragged across the ground, a masculine hand around an ankle. Her emotions flow through me like a whitewater river, fast and chaotic. She's grasping at anything, trying to get a hold, trying to stop him, but the only thing under her hands are dirt and leaves. Her clothes are dirty, blood and tatter, black slacks, white blouse, a pink floral scarf. Cold water splashes on her face. She gasps, then moans in pain. Ropes around her chest. She's tied to a chair, a gray metal chair. She tries to swallow. It hurts. She's thirsty, so thirsty and terrified. The man walks around her, taunts, grabs at her hair, and pulls her head back. She sobs. He slaps her. A glint of silver. He sees the necklace, tugs at the chain, and looks at the stones. Put over her head gently so as not to break it. The stones look small in his hand. There's a small, jagged scar on his wrist. The girl whimpers. He wraps the necklace around his palm twice. His hands go around her neck and squeeze. The necklace dangles along his wrist. The metal digs into her skin. She gasps and thrashes, her eyes widening, blood vessels breaking the sclera, and her mouth gaps open as she tries to suck in air that will never fill her lungs again. Then nothing. Darkness fills my vision. She doesn't come back this time. I know she's dead. This poor girl was murdered, and the necklace was hers. And that's it.
Wow.
That's wow.
Totally mesmerized.
Yeah. Like, okay, I do have a question that without giving it away, how many years prior to this premonition was this girl murdered? Will that give it away?
That happens within that chapter was just days.
Oh, days. Oh,
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That was days. And that's the whole setup how then the next chapter she gets to meet the dude in the story, the hero of the story. And that's a whole thing.
I just gotta say I'm like totally on a Charmed like marathon right now. So I'm like, oh yeah, those premonitions, yeah, they can get you. I love it.
If a lot of people are familiar with the word with psychometry, people know of intuition, those kind of things. But psychometry is what they call the clairs. So is the ability to read an object. So basically, when you touch an object, you have the ability to read the object. So you read all the memories, all the energies attached to the object. And the necklace in question is.
Oh wow!
Lift it up more. Yeah. Okay. So that's the one. Did you look at that while you were writing like these scenes and stuff?
Like I had the idea for this story, for me, the characters come first. I have somebody popping in my head and said, hello, my name is so-and-so, and this is my story. You're going to tell it. I'm not a plotter at all. I have maybe a few ideas of things that I want to happen. For example, the prologue in that story, her dying 3 times, those things happened to me, except my mom didn't die, thank goodness. But I was not breathing when I was born. So they had to revive me. And then a few years later, I was extremely sick. Nobody could figure out what happened. And no, I was fine afterwards. And I did drown when I was not 13, but 12. In this story, it's just 13. I did nearly a near-death experience with drowning at 12. So all those things did happen to me. So there's a lot of this. My books, there's things that that part of real life. And I'm a huge crystal lover, and I collect these things, and I have crystals all over me, around me, right now. So that's one of the things. And the psychometry is that ability to read objects, something that she uses in her job.
Yeah.
Yep.
You actually answered one of the questions that I had, which was how do you choose your character? How do you come up with your character? And you said they just come to you.
They just come to me with names and everything. Just one, I knew I wanted to name her Avalon just because of my cat. And she introduced herself as Ava, and Ava Avalon was my cat. And I dedicated the book to my cat, which is, I know it's silly, but that's.
Oh, did you draw that?
A friend of mine, Gisele, she's an artist, and she did this a watercolor painting, which I have hanging on my wall right now.
Wow.
And she did it, and she gave me permission to put in my book, and I did. And that, I have a lot of animals. All my animals are rescues, so I have 3 cats right now, 1 dog, and a whole feral colony that I take care of.
Okay. Wow.
And there's one sleeping right behind me. I don't know if you can see. No, I cannot work.
Kind of glimpse.
But there's one sleeping behind me right now.
So, with that, how do you choose your or decide on your genre that you want to write? Did you always know you're going to write in this genre, or did it come?
Growing up, I still read everything. The only thing I don't like to read is about politics and horror. I used to read a lot of horror, so I read all the Stephen King, and I love Green Cunts, but especially the yearly work I read, and I have nightmares for a week, so I have to like pace myself a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I grew up with the Harlequin romances. I grew up stealing my mom's books, and being way, way, way too young to read any of that stuff. And I love thrillers, so this book gives me a good balance. The one I just read, In Her Eyes, between romance and thrillers. I think it's pretty even out, half and half, with the thriller suspense part and the romance. But people always ask, if you love romance, the romance has a bad rap. People always talking about romance, it's mommy porn and all that. But I always ask them back, do you love somebody? Are you loved by someone? Do you want to be in a healthy, good relationship? That's all romance is. Romance is just about relationships and loving people and loving yourself, and being in a good relationship. Everybody wants to be loved. So why are you putting something down that talks about being loved?
Yep.
I love that
response.
Yeah. I have a t-shirt that says more love. And my husband's like, why do you wear that? Maybe people are thinking that you want them to love you more. And I'm like, no. It's just like it's romance, right? Everybody needs more love in their lives. Like everybody does. Doesn't matter what it is. If you're just like loving your neighbor because they're nice to you, you love them back because they're, you're nice to them, or whether you're just in a relationship, like everybody needs more love.
And more love for yourself.
And yourself, yes.
I'm huge on loving yourself first. And I always say that loving yourself first is not selfish. Loving yourself first means that you're going to be the best possible version of yourself, and you can share that version with somebody else. You wouldn't tell your kid, you have to love me more, you have to love your spouse more. You tell your kid, you have to love yourself. So your child, if you have a child, your child is there's no love like the love you have for your own kids. And if you want that for your child, why would you not want that for yourself? Why don't give yourself that same grace that you want your children to have? So love yourself first. Love yourself. Love yourself.
Yeah.
And then everything else falls into place. So
we're going tonight on
we are getting deep. Yeah, Erica's. She's bringing it hard. Yeah. Kathy.
She is bringing it hard, and I'm over here going to talk to you all about vengeance.
Well, first, let's see. Sorry, Dylan, you were going to say something. I heard.
No, I was just going to say it's funny how, we put the dates out there, and authors can sign up whenever it's, it's a good night for them. But it's funny how oftentimes we end up with, authors who are writing in the same subgenre, or who are writing in a subgenre that complements the other. And so, to have like vengeance and romantic suspense and thriller kind of night, it's just, some nights we'll end up with 2 people that both write comedy or something. It's just funny how it works out.
It is. It's a lot of fun. But I do want to ask Kathy these same questions before we get to her reading, and I know we need to get to that soon. But so, Kathy, how do you decide your characters, and how did you decide on your genre and tropes for this next book?
When I first started out, I was pretty much contemporary. Really, I was more more kind of the fade of black, more, I guess I really didn't know what my tropes and what my niche and what everything was going to be. I just knew that I wanted to write a book. Um, and so I did, I wrote this series and stuff. And then honestly, I started reading a little bit more darker stuff, and my husband and I started watching different movies and stuff, and I was just like, man, I'm so much more into this kind of stuff than I am like watching a chick flick, for example, and stuff like that. And I told him, I said, I'm gonna write something dark, and he was like, he didn't have a clue what I was talking about, but so then I did that. I don't know, however long it was, I sat down and I plotted a 3-book Hitman series and stuff. And my beta readers, after I sent it to them and told them everything, they were like, "This is you, Kathy. This is totally you. You dark, dark, dark." So I wrote. So yeah, I've wrote since then. I think 30 some. I don't even know, 30 some books, and the majority of them are a little bit darker mafia, and hitman spin-offs and different things like that. So that was me, by reading and watching a movie.
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
nice when you can find your voice like that, though. 'Cause I
Yeah.
think a lot of times, people will think this is what I like to read, so this is what I'm going to write, and then, maybe they
Yep.
find out that their voice isn't
Not.
suited for what they,
Right. I
initially think they're
agree.
going to write.
And I've dipped my toes since then, and it's some that are a little bit more contemporary and stuff like that. I've
Mhm.
done like 3 standalones, that aren't, so much romantic suspense or dark and stuff like that. And they've done well too. And as a reader, myself, I think it's great. I think it's good if an author can dip their toes and do well in different genres in
Mhm.
different areas, because I think it goes to show how much of a, how, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, it's late here, but I guess how much their mind can expand,
Mhm.
so yeah, I think it's pretty nifty.
Yeah.
But dark it is for me.
Well, we're eager to
Nice.
hear what you have for us tonight.
Yeah. So speaking of which, should we get to her reading?
Sure. Yeah. I did see a question from Linda. Do you want to do that one real quick?
I thought we'd say that for later. We have 2
Oh, that's fine.
questions from
Okay. Yeah.
viewers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that. So Kathy, what are you reading from tonight? I know you can't show us the cover, but
No,
you
I
can.
can't. And I'm like holding it over the top of my phone too, because this cover is so awesome. So if anything, after you hear what I read and stuff, you just want to sneak on over to Amazon really quick and take a look at the cover. It's an awesome cover, and it is the emotions on the model's face is fits
Yeah.
the book to the T. But this book is called Vengeance. It is book 1 in my Vindicator series, and it is a Hitman series. They are 3 hitmen who work for the Diamond Empire, which is my big, huge series that I've written like 10 books. And so I'm going to read the prologue, and I'm going to read a little bit of chapter 1, and you're going to hear me go blip, 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 or something like that with words, because I
Yep.
know this is supposed to be PG, and I
Yep.
do, like I said, I do write dark. These are hitmen. They're not, their vocabulary needs to, yeah, some things need to be blipped. So,
Mhm. All right.
so
We completely
anyways,
understand the blipping.
yes. So you'll just know that it's a word that I can't say. So,
Yep.
so prologue, Cade, 18 years old.
Oh, okay. We're gonna pop you up there, and we'll be back when you're done.
Okay. Loud voices shouted from downstairs as I pulled my earbuds out and jumped out of bed. Terror swelled in my head. I heard my mother's tortured screaming, my father crying out in an unhinged voice pierced with pain, both repeating one question: why? Before I could bring my tired mind to comprehend what the heck was going on, 2 gunshots went off from downstairs. They swirled around the confusion with the sudden flames and smoke that began ripping and roaring through the floorboards of my bedroom. I froze. Everything went silent except the unimaginable rushing thoughts in my head, the pounding of my heart, and the crackling sound of fire as it licked and twisted itself into my room. Thick black clouds choked the air as I shoved open my window to catch my breath. Panic twined around my legs. Death whirled within my twitchy fingers' reach. I needed to get to my sister and brother, whose rooms were across the hall. Except the dirty blank who set the house on fire didn't leave me a choice. I had just swung in the direction of my door when it blew off its hinges, nearly knocking me on my blank from the combustion as the pieces of incinerated wood sailed through the air. I ducked, but I couldn't avoid the bits and pieces of burned wood that pelted and stung my skin. Move, Cade, save your family. I wasn't giving up. I was shocked, confused, and scared. I had to get to them, save them all, even if I died doing it. I took a step and the floor shifted underneath my feet. With a scream so loud it should have woken the dead, and with the guilt of leaving them behind, I did the only thing I could do. I flung my body out my window, skimmed down the trellis, and hid in the shadows, body shaking, hot, salty tears burning down my lids. I couldn't move to see if any of them made it out alive. I watched it burn as choking clouds of toxic smoke pilfered through the chimney, crinkling flames torching the roof. The smell of gasoline so fierce it burned my nose. An out of control inferno. Ash falling to the ground like flakes of snow while I sat there wondering who in the blink would do this. Gripping handfuls of my hair did nothing to dull the ache in my chest as my gaze traveled to my neighbor standing on the sidewalk across the street, my eyes scanning for my family. None of them were there. I searched the crowd, body shaking, mind not quite catching on to what was happening, and there in the middle of everyone stood my girl, all wrapped up in her father's arms. I started to stand to let them know I was alive when I heard my older brother Drew and a few of his friends whispering just a few feet away from me. My heart leaped knowing he was alive. I started to move toward them when something was said that rooted me to my spot. I heard Drew ask which one of my friends had my dad's life insurance policy. I squatted, crawled through the grass like a snake ready to strike, shaking my head to clear the misunderstanding I surely thought I heard. The closer I snuck, the more bile rose in my throat. We need to get the blank out of here, one of them said. Give me the policy in 2 minutes to watch them burn, my brother demanded, with laughter trailing those words that will forever haunt me. Fairly certain they're all dead, man. You shot your parents in the head. Those two blanks watched your brother's blank sneak over. I took care of your sister before I choked the life out of her, and there isn't a chance in blank Cade made it out of his room. You made certain of that. Want to bet, you rotten piece of blank? I didn't hear a thing wrong. My brother and his friends killed our parents and little sister. The way they laughed about certain things that they had done before executing their well thought out plan made numbness take over my brain. I pressed a hand against my heart while vowing to the gods of vengeance I was going to get mine. I'd strike when they least expected. Watching your family go up in flames, wanting to put a bullet through your own brother's head, the guilt of not being able to help save them did all kinds of blank to my mind. It tempered inside until the silent vows of putting them in the ground defeated my every thought. Knew I had to go rogue then, so I fled. I left, leaving my brother to believe I had died, left my girlfriend Ivy McCarthy, who I loved more than anything, behind. For 10 years, vengeance has shaded my soul from gray to black. It's feasted throughout my entire system, shutting down my state of mind and becoming the focal point of my existence. Once I started to plan their deaths, the imagined ways and inhuman actions on how I wanted to unalive them or whatever, ticked at my jaw and dripped like poison through my veins. More times than I could count while I pulled the trigger and put a bullet through hundreds of enemies' heads, my mind would trip in the other direction, and the loose wire would trip up in my brain, the one that gives you a vivid image of happy memories, what ifs, and what could have been. And darn it all to hell, when I thought about them wishing they were here, wondering what kind of woman my sister Rachel would have turned out to be if it didn't leave me wondering if my soul would be painted black, would I still want to pull the trigger and blow my brother's face off? Then again, I remembered who I become and why I'd spent years hiding in the shadows, and vengeance once again became a deadly virus in my mind. It's been left unsettled. It's festered, leaving me balancing somewhere between heaven and hell. Chapter 1, K. When I was a kid, my parents used to drill holes in my head, doing their best to teach me and my siblings right from wrong. They taught us to respect others, treat them the way you wanted to be treated, all the typical things a parent does to raise a decent human. Regrettably, I've been plotting too many years to take their teachings and live by them. It's an easy decision to make when my brother and the men who'd done them wrong went about their lives if they didn't take them away. It drove an arrow of retaliation into my heart, charred it coal black, and left me with zero blanks except seeking revenge. I was the one always getting into trouble listening to that lecture about duty, honor, and respect when it turns out my brother, who never did a darn thing wrong, killed our family for money. Greed, the thing that makes our world go round. I'm going to stop right there because anything more is going to be a spoiler.
Sorry, I'm getting everybody unmuted here so we can come back. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything from there is going to be a spoiler, so I'll just leave it right there.
Well, I'm glad that you let us know like a little bit of the motive on why the brother did that, because I was just kind of sitting here wondering like, oh my gosh, what in the world would lead somebody to do that to their entire family?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why. But there's also, I'll toss in just a little bit of a teaser. There's also a woman named Ivy
Mhm.
that was also a little bit part of the reason. But hopefully, people grab a hold of this and read it and can find out more.
Mhm.
Well, Jennifer says, "Holy cow!" She loves it
Well,
already.
thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah.
I wish you could see me, but thank you.
And
I
Linda
tried
must
to.
have, oh, I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say Linda must have gone and looked at the cover because she said love the cover. So
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. I tried to post a picture of you, Kathy. I was like, "Here's our beautiful author that's reading tonight," and then it told me pictures aren't allowed on this platform. And I'm like, oh, "Okay."
Well,
So
geez. Well, you know what? Just look me up, you guys. Kathy with a
yeah,
K, and it's Coopmans. It's just like it's spelt just like it's pronounced. You'll find
yeah,
me.
well, and we've got a picture of you on the top, the cover.
yeah.
Gosh, words are
Yes. Yep.
escaping me.
Yep. Yep.
It's getting late. I'm running out of my words today. But yeah,
Yeah.
we've got a picture of you on the cover of the Romance Happy Hour Facebook page too. So
Yeah, I did
Well,
see that.
what you look like there.
we also have a couple questions. I'm going to post one here. And this is for both of you. We'll start with Kathy. What risks have you taken in your writing that have paid off? That's profound, Linda.
That's a good question.
Deep. We're
We haven't
all
had
deep
that before.
tonight.
We haven't
Yeah.
had that one before, I don't think.
What risk? Wow. That's almost one that you got to think on. Well, I guess I can honestly can go back to the to where I wrote contemporary versus dark. Like I said before, I wrote a series. It was a 3-book series, and gosh, I hope I'm answering the question the right way. Um, but I was nervous. I mean, I was obviously nervous. I think everybody is when you publish your first book, and you put that out there and stuff like that. But I was really, really nervous that this dark book, that these books were not going to go do as well as my other ones had done, because I quit my full-time job. I was a hairdresser for 25 years, and when I published my first book, oh gosh, a decade or so ago, I it did that first one did well, and it was contemporary. And so I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I'm switching genres now here. I'm writing dark. Is this going to do good? I'm not. This is my job. I think I think off the top of my head, that might have been my biggest risk right now. And it paid off. I mean, I'm not sitting here, with, in a bed of millions of dollars or anything like that. But it paid off, and it did well, and and stuff for me. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful. So I think that was a risk that I took, because honestly, too, when you look back and you think 10, 11 years ago, darker books like this weren't as popular as what they are now.
No,
not
they
at
weren't.
all. So yeah, I think that's a risk that paid off for me. I hope
Hmm.
that answered your question, Linda. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. No, it
What?
sounds like that really paid off.
Yeah. What about you, Erica?
Uh, I think just writing itself is a risk. Now, being exposed, being visible. When I first started, I didn't show my face at all. So now showing my face now for the last couple years or so, it is a big jump for me. Nobody in my family knew I wrote. I told my mom last year, finally.
Wow.
Yeah, yes. And some other in-laws just know because my husband told them. And they but like just exposing yourself, so that in itself is a risk, because writing and anything that you do in a public eye comes with a certain dose of criticism, and not everybody's gonna like your book, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I have a very thick skin, and I don't love every book that comes into my hands, and it's perfectly fine that no, not everybody's gonna love my books. And another risk was that I was writing YA and new adult, so my previous series is college romance with 3 books on it, and they did pretty good. And so this book is I'm jumping a genre and going for an adult romantic suspense. But I had this idea playing in my head for such a long time. Um, um, I had to tell the story. And another risk I'm going to be doing is that I'm a huge fantasy lover. Fantasy is my first passion as far as reading goes. And I have this story in my head for many, many years now. And I finally said, all right, I'm going to do it. And I'm in the very beginning stages of working out my fantasy series.
Mhm.
So that's a risk that I'm taking. So
I like that answer, that just writing itself
It's
is
a
a
risk.
risk. As
Absolutely.
Jennifer said over in the comments, it's a very vulnerable thing to do, and you're absolutely right. Because
yeah.
anytime, and I can tell just from what you've shared with us tonight that there's a lot of you that goes into your books. And
Yeah.
so, when you put so much of yourself into your books and you put it out there, um, to share, and once you put it out there, it's out there, and people will
And people who
review.
know people who know me well, they might will be able to identify certain things.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
even I've had people asking, is this person? I'm like, okay, but yes, but I cannot do it any different. I put all of me in everything
Mhm.
I do.
Mhm.
So my books is not gonna be any difference. I don't know how to not do it that way.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Awesome.
I like that
That's,
answer.
Me
it's a
too.
very good answer. I feel like it's my answer too. Like I was actually thinking that like the biggest thing I did was to write a book, like my very
Absolutely.
first book. So
Yep.
that being said, how do you celebrate when you finish a book? Let's go with Kathy. Let's go with you first, Kathy.
I
How do you?
drink.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's why you're on the show, right?
I mean, I drink.
What do you like to drink when you celebrate finishing a book, Kathy?
I'm a beer girl.
Okay.
Oh.
I am a beer girl. Yeah, I'm a Corona girl. I love me a
Oh.
Corona. Yeah.
With or without lime.
I can't do wine so much. It gives me heartburn, but I do like what is that? Like a spritzer, wine spritzer?
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Yep.
my friend makes those sometimes and stuff. But yep, I do. I drink. And then of course, my husband, he'll get home and we'll have our beers, and then if I have 2 or 3, then I have to have a shot of something. So yeah. That's what
If I have
Kathy
2 or 3,
does.
then I'm
That's
going to
fair.
bed.
That's
Yeah. That book's
yeah.
gone to the editor. I need a beer now.
Oh, that's funny.
What about you, Erica?
Well, I'm not a drinker at all. I'm boring. I pretty much only drink water. I don't even like coffee. And the one time that I took 2 sips of a margarita my husband was drinking, I was giggling for the next half an hour and then I fell asleep. So that does not work for me at all. I'll be in a
I
coma
love
if I
that.
drink a whole drink
You
of
don't even
anything.
have to drink the alcohol, but no coffee.
I don't like coffee. Please, I grew up in Rio de
It keeps
Janeiro
me
where it's
alive.
like 90 degrees, 9, 10 months out of the year. And so
Mhm.
I'm not drinking boiling water when it's 90
So
degrees
funny.
out. But the way you celebrate for me is chocolate or dessert or dinner. And, when I finish the book, then I tell my husband it's time for Mexican food. And I'm going all out. I want the churros at the end with the chocolate sauce.
Oh, yum.
Mm,
You can never go wrong
Nice.
with Mexican food.
can't
So,
have, not
do
with chocolate
I
either.
was just
Yes.
I was just wondering, do you celebrate every book you finish?
I believe, yeah, you got to
Good,
celebrate
Mhm.
every book. I
good.
know how many years and time and hours into it. So, yes, you
Yep.
have
Mhm.
to celebrate. Plus, it's a dinner.
Yep.
Mhm.
I don't have to cook. Yay. Finish my book. I'm not cooking. Let's go.
Okay,
How
one more
many
question. Sorry,
Oh,
go
I
ahead.
was just gonna ask, how many years have both of you been writing? I'm just curious. We didn't cover that before.
11 for me.
Okay.
Six for me.
Okay.
One more question. Can you write multiple books at a time?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have co-written 9 books. So I've
Ooh.
wrote, and during when I co-write, you know, if my buddy's got the books and whatever, I'm writing on my other one. So, yep.
That's basically
Nice.
how I write. With my first series, there's 3 books in it, the Regan's You series. So, because of Logan's book 1, because of Legan's book 2, and because of Dylan is book 3, I started because of Logan, stop around 30,000 words, wrote because of Liam, because the character River was screaming at me, she wouldn't shut up. So I had to write the entire book, went back to book 1, finished book 1, and then went back to book 3. Now, with those 3 books, book 1 and 2 are continuous, but book 3 overlaps book 1 and 2. So,
Okay.
no,
So it's
just
good that you wrote them like that then,
I
because
wrote,
then you
I wrote,
keep
and
everything in line.
yeah, and my little personal trick is that I print out a blank calendar and I use a calendar like I'm writing today. I'm going to publish next year. I get next year's calendar, and I work this story. I worked around different holidays. How I place the story starts in college,
Mhm.
starts in September. So, I use all those holidays throughout the year as plot points and parts of the book. So I just use a calendar and keep everything. So when I go to the next book, I reference back to my calendar so I know that this happened, and there's
Mhm.
a lot of overlapping. There was supposed to be 2 more books in that story, in that series, but those 2 characters don't want to talk to me at all. So I went to the, In Her Eyes.
Mhm.
I've
And
been
wrote.
there. Been there. Where it's like, talk to me. They don't want to talk to you, so you're just like, okay, I got to move on then.
Right. I'm in the middle of a 7 book series. Actually, not in the middle of it. I should be writing the last book that um in the series and stuff. It's another mafia and stuff. And I'll be darned if the last character, the last guy, he hasn't talked to me still, not yet. And so what I'm doing is I'm writing a standalone now. Because
Okay.
that character just, he was a brother of somebody else in the book and one of the other books, and his story just popped right out to me. So I just started it. I'm like, I'm writing like a chapter 4 or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, they got to talk to you. If they're not talking to you, then
Yeah. Yeah.
yep.
Sometimes you don't have the luxury of waiting though. If you've got deadlines or editors booked and things like that, what do you do if they're not talking and you need them to talk to you right away? You need
I've
tricks?
been with my editor for a long time, so my editor's pretty good. I mean, she was here this last time when I said, you know what, Ellie, they're not speaking to me. I'm gonna have to not. I mean, I gotta cancel. And
Mhm.
so, I mean, so, she was understanding. I mean, that's typically something that Kathy doesn't do. So,
Mm-hmm.
I can't speak for everybody else. On top of that, she's a a friend and all that kind of stuff too. So, but I don't, with my PA and stuff, I don't plan like tours and different things like that, until I'm at least about 3/4 of the way done with a book.
Okay.
Because then I know, I mean, things happen in life,
Mhm.
and I've had to cancel some pre-orders before, for, personal things. I lost my dad a couple years ago. It took me a whole entire year before my mind or my mentality, I could write again. So, I think people understand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, we, outside of that, we got, things that happen.
Yep.
Mhm.
At
Yeah.
least my team does. So
I'm too chaotic for deadlines, and which is funny because I worked in corporate in big pharma for many, many, many years, and in information technology for over 25 years. And I've never been late on anything at my jobs ever before. Not, no, usually I was way ahead of time. When I was a kid in school, we had a project. My project was done weeks ahead of time.
Mhm.
But the writing, because I don't have that structure, I just go with the flow kind of person, and I don't set anything until the book is with the editor. And then I know it takes me 3 or 4 weeks to go over reviews. And when I'll do a pre-order on Amazon, I do that pre-order Amazon ahead of time. So if I'm going to publish in September, I put a pre-order for November, knowing that I can move back and give myself that grace period. Something goes,
Yep.
haywire.
Yeah.
I always joke with my author friends that I need a handler. I need somebody with a whip behind me, cracking, yelling at me to get things done. Because now that I'm not in the corporate structure anymore, I'm just like, no,
Mhm.
free.
Mhm.
And but I need that.
Well,
It's
Dylan, we are over time.
We are. I know, that's what
I
happens.
know.
We get to
We
talking
forget.
and we lose track. So, we're gonna wrap up tonight. I wanna thank both Kathy and Erica. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing your work. We really enjoyed hearing from you and
thank you
getting a
so much for
Thank
this.
you. This was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And anyone who is watching now or comes across this on the podcast within the next couple days, we do have a giveaway up on the Romance Happy Hour Facebook page. They're both giving away a signed paperback copy, U.S. shipping only, though. So make sure you stop by and find out how to enter for that. So
Yeah.
we'll leave that open through the weekend and give everybody a chance to get over there. Real quick, as we wrap up, Erica, is there any place in particular that you're more active on social media where people should look for you? Facebook?
Yeah, mostly on Facebook,
Okay.
so they can always find me on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Kathy? Anywhere in particular?
They can find me on Facebook, but in my reader group.
Okay.
I'm extremely active in my reader group. I don't know. Will this stay if I put the link in the comments when we're done?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I can put the link, grab the link
Oh,
and put it
yep.
in
Yep.
the comments.
Yes,
Well,
it
it's
should stay
called.
there.
You can look. It's a cool name in my opinion, but it's Coopmans Cougars.
Okay.
So,
Ah.
yeah, right. I mean, come on. I mean, I told you how old I was, so you can look it up. Y'all
Yeah,
can
love
just
it.
look it up and go join and become a cougar. Come on now. I mean,
Alliteration is sometimes the greatest.
yeah. Who doesn't
Yeah.
want to be a cougar, right?
Hey, I'm older than my husband, so
Hey, there you
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
I'm
You
older
just
than mine
come
by
on in
18
and
months,
you
but
come on in and plop some information down on about your books in my group. I'm all for
all right.
that too.
Oh, yeah.
all right. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. We will be back the second Thursday in July with an all new episode. And until then, happy reading, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye bye.